So, this video is basically a collected speed paint of 10 comic pages for a mini comic. It's not for a big project. It's for, think of it like a short horror story collection type thing, like an anthology, but it's just me. I made one last year called 5 Stories. I'm not sure if I'm going to call it 5 Stories 2 or something like that, even though it'd be a little weird because in the original there was more than 5 stories, and this one there might be more than 5 stories, there might not. The name 5 Stories is kind of an ass title, but whatever. So only 10 pages, not a lot, to be honest. I could have added like at least 2 more pages with transitions. I didn't. I don't really know why. I spent a lot of time on each page, especially the first few and what do you call it, the magma opus page. It was a lot of hours. It was like about an hour per page, except for like 1 or 2 of them. So I was like, that's like 10 fucking hours. But really not the best story, but so it wasn't really worth it. But I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna try to make this video a little bit long so you can kind of see the process. But it's all pulled together. Took a lot of storage space out of my computer, so I deleted it as I saved. But the footage. But yeah, not too long. It's kind of like interesting to see it all like put together that fast. The basic horror, it's a horror story. The basic story itself kind of goes like, so you see these probably set during the 90s or maybe the 80s. Yeah, it's kind of like the 80s actually. I'm not really sure. It was like when America and the communist Cubans were at war. But anyway, actively in skirmishes. Sorry. People forget that skirmishes still exist. But anyway, and these like evil communists take our main character, who near the end of the comic learned his name is Matt, and they like kidnap him. He's shot in the leg, so he's like limping along, and they take him to a cabin, and they meet like this leader type guy who's he's no good, and he sort of belittles Matt, and he's kind of mean, and they're a bit weird, and basically like suddenly he turns this weird like vampire thing with a giant disgusting little pick out of his mouth. And you don't see it, but presumably he infects our main character. And then in the last, 4 pages, you see the main character come home to America. You can see a bit of his family, mostly his sister. You don't want to see the faces of his parents. And as he's going to church one day, he starts, breaking down and freaking out. And in my original concept, I was going to have him, when he sees the church, he breaks out in tears. And he starts crying, but I decided to not do that because I thought that it was a little too whiny. It was a little too pussy-ish. And, in 2023, I made a comic called, called The Scream of Joy or something like that. And it was, all the main characters were, these men from the 1930s or 20s. I think it was 30s, yeah. And they were all, and the comic was fine. It's about them, getting kidnapped by a bunch of tribal people from Papua New Guinea, but the biggest problem with the comic is the fact that is that they whined and cried and bitched too much. It was a long comic. It wasn't a mini comic. It was a full-on comic. So, but 200. It was maybe 160 pages. But they just cried too much. And not saying men can't cry, but these are serious men, and yeah, they're going through something terrible, but men don't really cry that much, especially in a scary situation like that. A man's a lot more likely to cry getting divorced than he is getting kidnapped by tribal people. Not that I would call someone a pussy if they did, but I don't want to really write about that. So I changed the ending to where the main character in this short horror comic wasn't crying, but there was tears coming out of his eyes at the last panel, but it seems more like it's stress-induced or some kind of pain, maybe sadness too. Because, the implication is that he's filled with this demonic force, Pretty disturbing ending. I made many years ago, I made a comic about vampires. It wasn't very good, but it was my longest comic back then, and I think it might still be soon. It's not good. Yeah, it's still my longest comic. 300 and something pages. I'm going to outdo that. But anyway, and if I did a big comic with vampires today, I would get more into the concept of being infected with sin, basically. But in a way that still allows redemption, because I'm a Christian, so I wouldn't want to lock out that kind of possibility. But yeah, that's what's going with this comic. I got some other ideas for comics for this 5 horror story comics. Like one about aliens, and one about like, I don't know, getting kidnapped, and one about serial killers and people losing their spines, and maybe also one about incest, like, just like really fun stuff, just working on a lot of really fun comics. To be honest, I only ever really feel happy when I'm making comics. No, not that. No, I'm happy with a lot of things in life, but honestly, like, I'm kind of like a doo-doo failure, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people say that, they're like, oh, poor me, but like, I, like, kind of suck at everything in life, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of I'm not, like, lazy or anything, obviously, but I'm kind of, like, an extremely unimpressive person. And the only 2 things I look forward to in life, the only 2 things, is making comics and writing stories, basically, and having kids someday. So basically making shit, but, making kids, most importantly, because that's my genetic legacy, and how I will hopefully actually add something that matters to this world. But on a personal level, writing stories is like the only thing I'm really good at. Because, like, I'm kind of fat. I have a bad voice, as you can tell. Kind of ugly. I got big boobs, so it's not that bad. But, but I, don't got a very good education. I mean, I know I read a lot of books, but what does that mean? Anyone can read books. But, and, I don't have a job. I do have a job at home, but like a job. I don't have money. I'm working on getting a bank account. But, basically, like, I'm just, like, a big, fat, gay loser, basically. I'm not gay. But, like, like that kind of thing, big old faggot, But, and, like, I'm one of those underperforming people, Ever, like, write your own story, Let me tell you, I hate that term, because I'll tell you, if I was a character in one of my stories, I would make me die in childbirth, or, like, get run over, or maybe someone's sister who got murdered along with the rest of the family, I'm that kind of person. But, when I'm writing comics, I'm Stephen King, I'm Clint Eastwood, I'm motherfucking Clint Eastwood, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am peak shit when I'm making comics, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am the shit, I am like, no, let me go back to what I was saying. I am like, if Stephen King, Clint Eastwood, and William Shakespeare had a baby together, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel when I'm making comics. Obviously, I'm not, like, an amazing writer or anything like that, I'm not sure who the best comic writer is ever. Well, I mean, I like the idea of a comic writer and an artist being one thing, but I generally think I can call myself a comic writer, comic maker, my favorite is Junji Ito. He's so fucking good. And no, I don't want to hear, there's a difference between comics and manga. There's fucking not. Shut the fuck up. But there's not. But, I mean, just stylistic differences, obviously cultural differences, but the differences don't matter. Anyway, but I'm going to wrap this up because I only got like a minute left in this video, but yeah, I love making comics and stories. It's what I'm best at. Yeah, I'm like just a giant making machine. You can say so much bad stuff about me, but my comic output is like God tier. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the sense that I make a lot of comics, kind of like a manga author, except for not that Nazi-ish and not that aggressive. And also I make a lot of comics that are short. But yeah, I'm very proud of my comic output. Very proud. And it's good to be proud of something. You should be proud of yourself. You watch this video, you should be proud of yourself. So I'm going to let you look at the rest of these pages. And I hope you enjoyed this video. So I will see you later or not. I don't want to see you later. Don't subscribe. I hate you. Goodbye. Kill yourself. Bye.